Hi gang, Jeff McAleer once again, and today I am taking a look at Triumph and Tragedy, European Balance of Power, 1936 to 1945, from our good friends at GMT Games. This is the second edition, and I will get to that in just a moment. It's designed by Craig Besenque, or Besenque. Yeah, 5 will get you 10. That neither one of those pronunciations are correct, but anyway, this is the second edition, and something I did want to mention is there's a little bit of controversy right now because the original edition of Triumph and Tragedy came out less than a year ago, and there are people who, of course, obviously purchased the first edition, and they're a little upset that the second edition is now coming out, and it's got a mounted map, and the box is thicker. It's one of the deeper GMT boxes. And they sort of feel like they're being forced to purchase a second edition if they want that mounted map. So here's a couple of things that I just want to point out. And of course, none of this comes through official GMT channels or anything like that. Just my opinion. People need to realize that GMT does their P500, which is a pre-ordering system. And it's supposed to be that if they get 500 pre-orders, then they're going to go forward in producing the game. Reality-wise, it's usually anywhere from about 750 to 850 pre-orders before they move forward. I guarantee that GMT, the folks at GMT, didn't realize the demand that was going to be out there for Triumph and Tragedy. So the original edition came with the paper map, smaller box. You don't have to go and purchase a brand new second edition because the game itself is not changing. That said, you can purchase the mounted map separately. And I would take a guess, it's very possible that they would ship it to you in the new, bigger box. That's very, very possible. So I'm not necessarily taking sides one way or the other on this second edition, but I am pointing out that you don't have to buy a brand new game just to get that map and the bigger box. Enough of that. Let's talk about the game. Triumph and Tragedy is a geopolitical strategy game, and it's for 2 to 3 players. I do recommend it with 3. And it pretty much covers the entirety of the lead up to World War II and the war itself. Each of the players is going to represent one of the major factions. So you're looking at Great Britain, the U.S.S.R, and Germany. And one of the interesting aspects about Triumph and Tragedy is that there is no assumption that the U.S.S.R and Great Britain are going to join forces because all 3 participants all have very, very different ideological objectives. So it's completely possible that the U.S.S.R does not become an ally. The game plays out in about 4 to 6 hours, so this is one of those epic kind of all afternoon, all evening kind of games. As I mentioned, it is for 2 to 3 players, ages 14 and up. It's medium complexity, and that's about right. They've rated it a 4, and I'd say that's correct. It is very low solitaire suitability, though, so keep that in mind also. So let's take a look at everything that we've got with the second edition of Triumph and Tragedy. So we've got the rules of play, and they're not huge. It's about 20 pages. So you've got the intro, the map, talking about the nations, the units, cards and markers, setting up the sequence of play, diplomacy, technology, the seasons, movement, combat, rebasing supply, war and peace, victory, playing a short game, also the 2-player game. So we've got that. And then, of course, we've got the Playbook, which I always dig. So, of course, it's giving you an extended example of play. Yeah, this is a pretty extended example. All right. And then the designer notes. And a glossary on the back. There are record sheets for the game itself. And then we've got stickers, because we have blocks. We've got the stickers there. Player aid. So, Great Britain, or I guess we would say the West, the U.S.S.R, and the Axis. Then we've got counters, dual-sided. I'm trying to get that one out. There we go. Then we've got the mounted map. We'll look at that last. Then, as I mentioned, we've got blocks, because there is a fog of war element. So we've got the blocks here. Some nice chunky dice. And then the cards. So give me a second. I'm going to crack these cards open. We'll take a quick peek into them. And I'll be right back. All right. So we've got the 2 decks of cards. And one deck is the investment deck. And what these cards, they're multi-purpose. So you can either utilize the card center in order to advance your industrial capacity, or utilize one of the sides to help improve your technology. So for an example, Factory 3, rocket artillery, or air defense radar. Sonar, motorized infantry, LSTs, so on and so forth. Atomic research. So you've got this deck of cards. I'll put that right down in there. Then you also have the action deck. And once again, the action deck also has 2 different purposes. You can use the center to command your forces during that season, get them to move, or you can utilize the card to try to influence a neutral nation. Portugal, Greece, Spring Command. Czechoslovakia, Austria, Spring Command. Denmark, Turkey, the USSA, the USA, and so on and so forth. So there is a lot of card-driven action to the game. Let's take a look at the mounted map. And as always, I always point out, be careful when you're taking the map out of the Ziploc bag, because it's very, very easy to catch an edge. And of course, I'm not going to be able to get the entire map into the shot, but I do want to kind of give you an idea, because this is a pretty good sized map. Now, as I point out, this is a pretty large map for you to have to unfold. So you need to have a good size area on your table. Let me Oops. Keep slipping out of my hand. So just to give you an idea, this is the bottom half of the map. I rest my case. Pretty good sized map. And yes, it is mounted, as I pointed out before. So we've got the map, we've got the 2 decks of cards, we've got the wooden blocks that you're going to put those stickers on. We've got the informational counters. We've got the 3 play aids. There's those stickers I was talking about. The record sheets, the playbook, and the rules of play. And that is what we've got when we take everything from Triumph and Tragedy outside the box. As I had mentioned earlier in the video, this has done extremely well for GMT. This really appealed to a lot of different kind of gamers, especially those who really want to get into a huge epic World War II game without having to delve way down into the minutia of the different armies and units and soldiers and equipment and so on and so forth. As with any GMT game, if you don't already have Triumph and Tragedy and you're interested in getting it, snag it as quickly as you can. It will sell out very, very fast. Finally, for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV, so on and so forth, be sure to go get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.